The Sparking Zero DLC is delayed, and man, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has seen many hiccups in its release that have just slowed everything down quite a bit. But one of the worst has to be the poor and inconsistent planning of the DLC releases, from the content featured all the way to the release times of the DLC. Hello everyone, it's me again, Steve Doji here, back to more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and we're going to go over this real quick. How Sparking Zero's DLC has actually been delayed, amongst the many other things involving the DLC that I think have actually slowed down the release of this by quite a bit. We were probably supposed to already get this DLC out by now, but I'll explain obviously very soon why we haven't got it yet and why it's been delayed even further back than the actual original release dates were received. And I think the first and most important point of the DLCs I should talk about really quick is the content in the DLCs. Now, we all know the content in the DLCs itself is not actually that much, so the release times of the DLCs is kind of even harder to vaguely, understand. A good example is, while the graphical fidelity of Sparking Zero is much higher, Xenoverse 2 would also still add DLC characters that would actually, for the most part, have fully unique combos. Before, it really was characters like Goku Black, Fusamasu, Vegito Blue that had entirely unique combos, a full set of super attacks, and ultimate attacks, and they had to make sure all of these attacks worked on different stages. They didn't have forced cinematics or anything, and also they would add new stages. They would have to make these moves for custom characters, etc, etc. And the same thing with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ would have to make new characters, have their characters Ki Blast interact with other characters or other character models. When Ki Blasts get reflected and destroy stuff in the background, they have to make sure all of that stuff is working. All that good stuff, right? So Sparking Zero are only doing basically base Gohan, Super Saiyan Gohan, Ultimate Gohan, Beast Gohan, Base Piccolo, Super Piccolo, Orange Piccolo, Giant Piccolo, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, etc, right? That's not a lot by comparison, especially when they reuse assets very heavily, such as the explosion effect at the end of every single goddamn super attack in this game. You guys know what I'm talking about. Every time you do a super attack in Sparking Zero, there's that exact same, fiery cloud of explosion. It's usually never different. There's very rare instances, like Teen Gohan's, ultimate attack that he can only do when he's Super Saiyan 1, I think. Sparking Zero could do more with the content that's on display, and to be fair, we were never actually promised anything else other than characters, but I'll get to that in a bit. The DLC release times as they are on Steam are quite telling, because if you actually look at Sparking Zero on Steam, which is the only other place that the release dates have been shown, because Bandai Namco have still not given us any updates, but I'm assuming they had to give an estimate to Steam as to, hey, this is when this thing will release, and if we fail to deliver on that promise, we'll have to give you another day. I'm pretty sure that's how this works on Steam. Steam isn't like some unofficial third-party thing that's guessing. They have to receive actual genuine information, otherwise they can't put your product on their store page. So we actually did release, we actually did get all these Sparking Zero DLCs on different dates, and some of them were promised, kind of before or after, but whatever. The dates were usually about the same. But one day that's kind of interesting is how Sparking Zero's DLC 3, which is obviously the one that would have Daima SJ4 Goku in it, was promised to us between April to June. And between April and June, we got the Daima Character Pack 1, which is okay, yeah, we got Daima Character Pack 1. So the next thing that would follow would be Daima Character Pack 2, which would be in June. But no, in June, late June, the end of June, we got the Shallot DLC. And then obviously it says that the Sparking Zero DLC 3 has been delayed to even further. Now it says July up September. My theory is that obviously Sparking Zero DLC 3 was supposed to come out first, but they probably got a last-second announcement from maybe higher up saying, hey, quickly do some sort of collab synergy thing with Dragon Ball Legends, make the Dragon Ball Legends celebration seem even bigger by adding the Dragon Ball Legends character to a different game. Or maybe they were like, hey, maybe we can't finish this SJ4 Daima Goku, King Goma, all of these other things in time, so we'll just quickly put out this, and then we'll make the Daima SJ4 DLC. Again, you guys let me know what you think it's going to be, or what the actual case is, because I can't tell. The best I can say, or the most concrete one, is probably that they were working on a DLC, but they had to do the collab thing. Again, Dragon Ball games, for the most part, didn't even know that the Daima reveals were going to happen, which is why all of them basically rushed and struggled to get them out on time, because usually most of the time when a reveal happens, one of the games is really quick with it. A good example is Xenoverse 2 was instantaneous with Ultra Instinct Goku in the anime, Dragon Ball Legends was instantaneous with DBS Broly, collab since the game was announced at the same time the movie was announced, all that stuff, right? But then you get things like Superhero, which obviously came out way later, right? All the games struggled to get superhero content out. Dragon Ball FighterZ didn't even get it, for God's sakes. And then now Dragon Ball Daima, where it seems like they were really just suddenly hey, yeah, this is something you have to do now, and they were like, oh, we actually had other plans. For example, Future Saga Chapter 3, we're still waiting on that, but we got the Daima DLC instead, and we were waiting for, man, it's just a lot, I don't think they were told about what was going to go down, so that's why they're all rushing to do it. Actually, yeah, speaking of rushing to do it, the Charlotte DLC, I'm wondering how much time did the Charlotte DLC take away? Because obviously, they probably quickly put it out because it was just one character, no transformations, right? So they didn't even have to do any extra super attacks. And Charlotte, for the most part, is reused animation. So how much time could that have actually taken? But either way, I'm assuming the time spent on advertising, making models and animations is just time that they're taking away from Daima, SSJ4, Goku, amongst other characters, having that same time allocated towards them. Again, Charlotte's super attacks are mostly just reused, especially his secondary super attack, his rush super, but it is weird that this is taking so much time away from them making the other thing, since it is just one character. How long does it take to make one character in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? I'm very curious, because there's a big team backing them. I feel like it shouldn't be this hard, especially when it's a base form character as well, but who knows, man, who knows. And another reason why it's so weird is because the only things we ever get promised in these DLCs are characters. I want to remind you that, keep in mind, before Sparking Zero came out, they did call these DLC packs. But after Sparking Zero came out, they called every add-on a character pack. Most likely because they want to make it very obvious, so that way they're not liable for anything, by saying, hey, we only promised characters. When we said DLC, that doesn't mean the same thing we do in other games where sometimes there's a new stage or a new quality of life update or like a free patch. It's just characters. So if you only just get characters, then that's not like, you know, that's not our fault. That's what we told you would be, just characters. So it is weird that the character packs are just characters. They'll still put out DLCs that only have one character, like Charlotte, for example, and I'm pretty sure Charlotte wasn't free either. You still have to pay for him. And then he doesn't come with any stages, doesn't have any Super Saiyan forms. His supers aren't even that unique, other than his ultimate Rising Rush, but that really should have a unique mechanic, like doing more damage if you have more teammates, so that way it's more accurate to the actual game. It would make for a more interesting collab too. But yeah, just weird that they actually straight up are like, yeah, we're not giving you any stages, no costumes, no accessories, no extra customizations to existing characters, no new game modes, no game mode overhauls, no extra story expansions, such as, for example, adding superhero story to Gohan and Piccolo's story in the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero story mode. Like, that's weird, right? You guys can agree. That's super weird that they just didn't add the superhero story for Gohan and Piccolo. It would have been people that liked that. There would have been more content. People wouldn't be like, oh, these DLCs suck, they're a disappointment. I think a Dragon Ball Daima story for Goku and Vegeta getting into the game, like, just nothing really. Like, okay. I just think it's super weird how, even with like all the stuff that is available to Sparking Zero, they probably have a bigger dev team and more funding too, which is why they can even make a game that has, you know, graphical fidelity like this and the amount of characters it has. But for some reason, now that the game is out, they don't feel like putting any more like effort or time into it. It's just, I don't know, it's just very unfortunate, you know, to just see them be like, hey, all we can do is give you characters and that's it. No stages, no extra story mode stuff, no extra game modes, no updates to characters or models or accessories or nothing, man. It's just so unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation all around, but hey ho, that's the game we got. I hope that they can actually do some real improvements to the game after the final DLC comes out. Maybe they'll just announce like Sparking Infinite or some nonsense. That's actually a sick title though. Hold up, wait. Dragon Ball Sparking Infinite? That would be a sick title, but the game would have to actually be good, otherwise the title would go to waste. But yeah, maybe they'll just announce like a sequel or something to Sparking Zero when they're all said and done with this, but I don't know, I guess that's just a good place to end the video. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below about everything involving Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, because, man, this is a game that not only just the fans, but like content creators wanted to play forever. Again, no one wants this game to fail, right? If you're a fan, you want a Dragon Ball game that's good, that can last forever. And if you're a content creator, you want a Dragon Ball game that's fun, that you can make infinite content on forever. But Sparking Zero didn't even appease both CCs and goddamn the consumers, you know? I think that just sucks all around. I mean, it definitely made its money back already because, you know, it's a Dragon Ball game, but it just sucks to see it be like this. You don't want the game to suck. You want the game to be good because you benefit from it being good, not from it being bad. So, let me know what you think in the comment section down below about all of this. And you guys, please leave a like on the video. The subscribes are greatly supports the channel. And leave a comment down below as what you'd like to see next. I hope you all have an awesome day. And I will see you all next time. Take care and peace.